Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
There we go, we're alive, that's great. My name is Rachel Davis Disbrow. I'm an Almaden Hills United Methodist Church member and 2011 Joint Youth Group graduate. I am so incredibly honored to be standing here before you this evening. I'd like to acknowledge a few people before I begin. To Lisa and Kat, thank you for bringing the youth group from where it was 20 years ago to where we see it here tonight. To the parents, volunteers, and supporters here, thank you for helping raise us and giving us a safe place to grow. To my fellow alumni, we're all here because we have something in common. We're survivors. Mostly of Lisa's games.
Oh, come on.
Those usually involved eating something weird, doing something weird, or wearing something weird. But I'd particularly like to acknowledge the fellow survivors of the trash can game. All joking aside, we are here to celebrate a remarkable organization that has helped create remarkable people and done remarkable work in our community for over 20 years. The Joint Youth Group's core mission is to create a safe, open community for young people to grow and thrive in their faith. It gives young people a built-in family, mentors to lead them on their journey in life, and the foundation to guide their actions through service to others. The two most important lessons I learned in youth group were first, live a life of service, and second, a relationship with God can be found and felt anywhere. It is through this mission that my own path has wandered the way it has, rooted in faith and service to the community that raised me, the residents of San Jose, and to my fellow countrymen. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17 tells us,
Hey, there you are, Rachel.
Learn to do good before, after. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17 tells us, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, plead the widow's case. Audrey Hepburn tells us you have two hands, one to help yourself, the second to help others. And my personal favorite, President JFK said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So what do an actress, a prophet, and a president all have in common? They're all correct about leading a life of service. We were placed on this earth to stretch our hands out, uplift our friends, families, and strangers, give unto others what we can spare and then some. We learn early on in our faith that we must love others as we love ourselves. No matter how you say it, help your country, use your second hand, learn to do good, the message is simple, live a life of service. I've known since I was 6 that I wanted to work in politics. For those of you that remember The West Wing, I am CJ Craig. But it wasn't until after I graduated high school and left the youth group that I realized now I wanted to be in politics for the right reasons. It wasn't the glamorous 80-hour work weeks or the nail-biting council meetings. It was to use the gifts God gave me to serve my community. When I talk about service through gifts, I think back to my grandmother, a conservative, Bible-beaten Pentecostal from Oklahoma who was convinced God had given me the gift of gab, which is the gift to speak with eloquence and wit. My parents would argue that I just like to talk. So would Lisa. Either way, as I got older, I found a home in the theater, but it was the youth group that gave me a unique outlet for this creativity. Lisa saw that I thrived when I had a chance to use my gifts and allowed me space to grow with them in my faith through slam poems, lay ministries, dramatic readings, talent shows, leadership groups, and more. Looking back over my teenage years, I wish I had the opportunity to tell my younger self everything would be just fine. All those years I spent writing slam poems about fighting the patriarchy and glass ceilings that would lead me to incredible places where I wouldn't just crack those ceilings, I would pulverize them. That I would bring together other young women up the ladder behind me. That those shelters years I spent thinking how unprepared I was for the real world would prepare me to have an open and humble heart. Those summers spent sweating on rooftops, peeling paint and digging holes on land that belonged to our country's first people would teach me that, 1, I can use a screwdriver and don't need to call my dad, and 2, what it means to serve with humility and understanding that life is different for different people, and the gifts I was given, I needed to use to help others. Then you throw in the plot twist of being a teenager. All the emotions that come with it, the friend drama, the relationship drama, and all of the things get a little bit more complicated. Youth group gave teenagers a safe place to grow and discover themselves without the judgment. We went through the confirmation process, humbling summer trips where we would spend 10 days helping to build homes and rebuilding ourselves, trips to the snow in Disneyland. We had awkward dances, we had to leave room for Jesus. We rehomed a horse skull and named him Montel. We embraced our quirky, we embarrassed our parents, we embraced our best selves. We won the messy Olympics, served mission trips in San Francisco, created blackmail photos with our plum pudding outfits, dreaded the Rise and Shine song at Lock-ins, and so much more with people who would become lifelong friends. That was the place we had access to as kids. But eventually we all had to grow up and live our lives outside of the youth group. I hit college, stopped going to church, and fell out of practicing my faith for a while. Then in 2016, I had a health crisis that had me in and out of the hospital. Wouldn't recommend kidney stones to anybody. It was during this time when the community from the church I hadn't regularly attended in 5 years took care of me that I remembered that God and my relationship and my faith doesn't only happen within the four walls of a church. Faith happens through everyday acts of service and kindness, and I had a responsibility to continue to give back to this community. So I quit a job I wasn't happy in and went on my way to find my path again. I started an incredible job with the city in the vice mayor's office, and eventually I was offered a position in the mayor's office and worked my way up the ladder to become San Jose's first female chief communications and marketing officer. And now I get to spend my days storytelling, advocating for residents in need, and pushing for groundbreaking policies that have real-life consequences for the 10th largest city in the United States.
Woo-woo!
Thank you. Just this week, we opened San Jose's newest quick build site. It's a gated prefab community that pairs unhoused residents with full wraparound services, much like the casitas, job training, and a new leaf on lice. I was able to connect our local media with stellar individuals who are beyond thrilled to have a new place to live. One young man in particular broke down in tears when he was interviewing with the mayor. He'd been homeless since his mom died in 2020 and lost his residence. He just started a job at Amazon as a delivery driver. He was sober. He spends his free time cleaning up trash with Goodwill and mentoring other young men because he's so grateful for the second chance he was given just because the city gave him a room. These are the stories I get to tell. These are the ways I get to see God moving in my life and in other lives. I lead such a remarkable life. It is full of love and opportunity, and I am so grateful. I'm grateful that I can seize the blessings I have been given and spread them to others. I have chosen my path, and I will continue to sprint down it, fight for it, for my family, my friends, my community, and for my faith, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much the world is telling us that bad times are here to stay. They're not. I will continue to let my faith be a beacon, just as all of you gathered here today have collectively decided, with one voice, to support this tremendous group of young people and each other. We are mentors, friends, alumni, and youth pastors, and we have a common goal, as Jesus, Isaiah, Audrey, and JFK all tell us: live a life of love and do good in the world. Now, before I continue, I would like us all to take a minute to acknowledge the reason we're here in this room tonight. Lisa, can you please join me up here? One of the